We begin this movie in a natural history museum. A young boy named Paul is mesmerized by Bigfoot. He is with his classmates at the museum. The instructor enters the room with the other students. He asks them, "Has anyone seen Paul?" They respond, "No, we haven't seen him." He tells the students that he will find him. He sees Paul just staring at Bigfoot. Paul tells the teacher that he knows Bigfoot. The teacher replies, "Oh, really? There's no such creature as Bigfoot." He points to the plaque. It reads, "No such creature has ever been found." Paul replies, "Well, I found one." The teacher asked him where. Paul tells him up in the woods. Then the teacher asked him to tell him about it. Paul tells him he was fishing by a cave. Then Bigfoot was standing next to me. Then I gave him some candy. He ate the candy and liked it. Then he shows the teacher what Bigfoot gave him. The teacher responds, "That's beautiful, Paul. Did you ever see him again?" Paul says, "Oh, sure, many times. I used to bring him Coca-Cola and he loved it. I also gave him my radio and showed him how to play it." He asked Paul what kind of music did he like. Paul replies he likes rock and roll, just like me. The teacher asked Paul what his father thought about Bigfoot. Paul replies, "I never told him." The teacher asked why not. Paul tells him it's a secret between me and Bigfoot. The teacher thinks Paul has a wild imagination. He tells him to get back with the group. Paul walks away, shaking his head. The teacher looks at Bigfoot once more, then walks away. Then we see the teacher reprimanding Paul. He is writing a report about Paul telling tall tales. The teacher shouts out, "You're in big trouble." Now Paul is sound asleep. He hears his name being called. He goes to the window and sees Bigfoot. Bigfoot warns him that his father is in danger. He tells him he needs your help. "Hurry, Paul." Paul starts getting dressed. Then the teacher enters the room. He tells Paul he's tired of his fairy tales. He tells him tomorrow he will report him to the principal. Paul decides to run away and help his father. Paul is in the middle of nowhere. A big rig sees him and stops. The driver tells him, "Hop in, kid." Paul's father is a park ranger. His name is Will. He is searching for a tiger that escaped from the zoo. Paul didn't have any problem tracking him down. The two meet in the woods. Will asks Paul, "Why aren't you in school?" Paul tells him that Bigfoot warned him. "He told me you are in great danger." Will scolds Paul for telling a Bigfoot story. He tells him there is no Bigfoot. He grabs Paul's hand and they walk away. They take a short break. A fox watches them with curiosity. They continue on their way. Then Paul spots a bobcat. He runs over and plays with it. Paul is very good with animals. That's why he and Bigfoot are such good friends. Paul and the bobcat play for a while. Then they meet their friend Jim. The three of them continue their search for the escaped tiger. They think they have it cornered, but it turns out to be a mountain lion. They arrive at a waterfall. This is where Paul and Bigfoot first met. Paul has a feeling that his friend is nearby. He looks at the ornament that Bigfoot gave him. It begins to flash on and off. Paul believes that Bigfoot is telling him he is nearby. The hunters decide to enter the cave. Paul tries to stop them. They refuse to listen to him. The hunters head for the cave. As they enter the cave, Bigfoot appears above them. He watches them from above. They find a pile of Coke cans. They comment someone sure likes Coca-Cola. They were given to Bigfoot by Paul. Paul tells them that he left the cans there. They don't believe him because they're all flattened. They ask Paul, "How did you squash them?" They don't believe Paul's story. They agree that something is in the cave. They make their move. Paul tries to stop them. Paul's dad tells him to stay outside. Bigfoot watches them from above. While inside the cave, they hear Jim. He shouts, "Hey, look what I found." He comes walking out with a radio. Paul's father recognizes the radio. He asks Paul, "Isn't that the radio I gave you?" Paul replies, "Oh yeah, I've been looking for that." Then they decide to move on. As they leave, Bigfoot watches them from above the cave. They continue their search for the tiger. They hear a growling sound. They run in that direction. But if not the tiger, it's a large bear. Jim is good friends with the bear. They haven't seen each other for a while. He walks over to the bear and they embrace. Then the bear decides to move on. Gunshots are heard off in the distance. They grab their equipment and run to investigate. Will finds a rifle with a bent barrel. Then they find some clothes. They also find some sunglasses. Then Tom, the lead tracker, spots some tracks. He starts following the trail. Paul follows behind him. Tom discovers a very large footprint. He knows it's from Bigfoot. Tom tells Paul, "This is our secret. They finally locate the escaped tiger, but it escapes into the rocks. Then we see Paul and Jim running through the woods. They enter an area with abundant wildlife. They walk through the wild animals with caution. None of the animals show any aggression. Jim is feeling there is something supernatural occurring. Then Jim sees an Indian medicine man sitting next to a bear. He says, "Red Hawk, is that you?" He responds, "Hello Jim." Jim replies, "You died 13 years ago. I saw you sealed up in a cave." Red Hawk tells Jim, "After 7 days, I had a vision. All the animals in the forest need me, so I left the cave to be with my friends." Red Hawk knows that Paul has seen Bigfoot. He tells Jim to leave so he can speak with Paul alone. He asked Paul about the necklace he's wearing. Paul tells him that Bigfoot gave it to him. Red Hawk believes Paul because he too knows about Bigfoot. They leave the medicine man. Paul gets too far ahead of Jim. He gets caught in a net trap. It lifts him into the trees. A mountain lion tries to grab the net. Jim catches up with him just in time. He chases the mountain lion away. Paul shouts, "Get me out of here." Jim laughs at Paul and sets him free. Then we're back with Will and Tom. Tom tells Will about the Bigfoot tracks he saw. Will tells him they were probably just bear tracks. Tom disagrees. He tells Will he's going to shoot Bigfoot. Will just laughs at him. He tells Tom, "I'm here to catch the escaped tiger." Then Tom makes a Bigfoot mating call. The tiger hears it and gets spooked. Bigfoot gives the tiger a hand signal to calm down. Will and Tom see the tiger and shoot at it. They both miss and the tiger escapes again. They track the tiger into a cave. The team cautiously enters the cave. They can hear the tiger growling. Finally, Will finds the tiger. It is trapped at a dead end. He fires a tranquilizer into the tiger. The tiger goes down. A veterinarian removes the tranquilizer dart. She tells the team that the tiger is alright. Meanwhile, Paul continues his search for Bigfoot. He finds an exit from the cave. He senses that Bigfoot is nearby. Then he turns around and is face to face with him. He runs into Bigfoot's open arms. They hold each other close. Bigfoot sits Paul down and rubs his head, as if to say, "Darn, it's good to see you again." Paul tells Bigfoot how glad he is to have found him. He tells him he's not safe because a hunter is looking for him. Then Will realizes that his son is missing. They begin searching for Paul. Bigfoot and Paul hear them calling for him. Bigfoot gets spooked. Paul tells him to run before they shoot him. Bigfoot picks up Paul and gives him a big hug. Then Paul tells him to run away fast. Paul runs back into the cave. He shouts out, "I'm okay everyone." Will sees his son and is relieved that he's okay. But just before they reach each other, disaster strikes. Will is caught in a cave-in. Paul runs to help his father. Will tells his son to help him. But Paul cannot move the large rocks. He begins calling for Bigfoot to help his trapped father. Then when all seems lost, Bigfoot appears. He easily removes the large rocks and fades away. Will regains consciousness. Paul asks, "Are you okay, Dad?" Will replies, "Yes, I'm okay, thank you." Then the others arrived at the cave in sight. Tom sees that Bigfoot tracks, he smiles and goes out on the hunt. Paul takes off in hot pursuit to warn Bigfoot. Tom runs like the wind through the forest. Paul is right behind him all the way. Suddenly Tom is in Red Hawk's sacred place. He is surrounded by its true inhabitants. And they are not pleased with his presence. He looks up and sees Red Hawk. He is sitting surrounded by the animals of the forest. Bigfoot is also standing behind him. Bigfoot looks into the hunter's eyes. The hunter takes aim at Bigfoot. Then the mystical necklace shines brightly. The glare is blinding to the hunter. The hunter falls to the ground. Blood is streaming from his eyes. He gets up and runs into the woods. And is never seen again. The movie ends right back where it started. Paul is back in school. The teacher who degraded him over Bigfoot has changed his opinion. He asked Paul if they can talk. Paul is very courteous towards him. The teacher apologizes for not believing him. Paul tells him that everything is cool. The teacher asked him if he could ever see Bigfoot. Paul tells him that first he must prove he is a true believer. Paul holds the magic stone in his hand. The teacher stares at it and it begins to glow. This means that he is a true believer. Then a vision appears of Bigfoot. The teacher is now a true believer. And his life will never be the same. I hope you enjoyed watching this short version of Cry Wilderness. If you did, please check the subscribe and like buttons and leave a comment. And thanks for watching.